So, hello, welcome again to another episode. We are already on episode 3 of Digital Minds and Dark Dreams. I'm Alicia, an English philologist and dark dreamer.
I'm Cecilia. I'm the tech savvy growth guru.
And today we're going to help you with something that we really struggle in ourselves, but we can give you advice. Not that we get it right, but we can give you advice. And we're going to tell people to know how to skyrocket their niche, staying balanced. And oh boy, this is a difficult one.
It is, definitely. So, have you found your niche?
I think I found my niche various times with you.
That's good.
Yeah, remember we had many aha moments. Well, I had many aha moments, and we even had one day where I said something, and we both got goosebumps because I think the niche doesn't just come like that.
No, it
It
doesn't.
happens little by little. It just something comes up, and then it's like when you are with your clay figurine that you have an idea but not quite sure how that's going to turn out, and then you keep molding it, taking pieces out and adding things on, and
Or just going like,
or then if you get fed up, you just squash it all together and start again. But yeah, it's a very difficult one. And if the niche is something so personal that, because I think that we probably need to do the distinction of some people say, maybe we could start here. Some people say, you are your brand. And other people say, no, the brand is something separate. And then if I think in Jungian terms and I take the brand as a piece of art, it's actually both.
you always make it so difficult. No.
Yeah, because I think too much. Yes.
No, but it's also what we talk about with say, like the balance, but it needs to be like a bit of both in my head as well.
Yes. Yes.
So
If you think about a piece of art, your brand as a piece of art, because it's something creative at the end of the day. Jung said something like, let's see if I get it right. He said, like, if you are creating this piece of art and it's your product, you are in control of the product of what you're doing. We get this external working with what's in your unconscious mind, because it doesn't seem to be something that is deep down in you. And more these days when they say you really need to look deep to know what you want to sell or what you want to do, how you want to help other people. So in this sense, you are going to be like in control. But then it can also happen that as you are producing this piece of art, it starts like a novel, it starts having a voice of this on its own, and it takes over. And if it takes too much, if it takes over too much, there's a risk that you might end up mad. And it's not exactly on those words. I could quote that and find it. But that you can apply to a book, you can apply to a piece of art, a painting, but also I think to the brand and to the business that you're creating. Because at the end of the day, it's a very creative thing what we do online. It's not going to open your physical business somewhere, and the creativity of it might be just your window when you expose your products, and you're thinking of maybe how to provide your service in a way or another, which there's a lot of creativity there too. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's another level of creativity on the online. I don't know, how do you see this?
the way I interpret it when you say it like that is like if you don't bring along yourself, you lose yourself.
Yes.
That is what I interpreted that with, is because if you make a piece of art, if you make a business or anything, and you get too wrapped up in the thing you're doing, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not bringing in yourself, you'll lose it because the passion is lost.
Yeah, but also the thing that you're creating has a kind of soul that starts walking on its own. And you might be thinking, I want it to go this way. And your business is taking you a different direction because it kind of has a mind on its own. Also, because maybe when you're out there, the replies and the reactions that you're getting from the public, from the people, is not what you were expecting. And you're still thinking, I want to go that way. And that happens a lot when I think about my physical business. That happened too. I wanted it to be something meant for a certain type of people. And then the type of clients that I got didn't align with that a lot of the time. They wanted something else. Parents didn't want their kids to go and learn English because they saw passion in their kids to learn another language. It was because they were projecting their own trauma on their child, and they didn't want the child to go through the same problems that they went through when they were kids, because now as adults they couldn't find the job. That wasn't what my product was for. That wasn't the client. And that's why I struggle so much. And now that I'm telling you this, it's super clear that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. So it took me to go to psychology to understand this. I just had an aha moment, people. So there you go. That's why it's important to talk about it with another entrepreneur or with your coach, because it comes out.
It does. And it's when you try to explain like stuff like your business and who is your target audience, who is your niche, and the more you start talking about it, the more you go like, wait, okay. But you can interpret the Jungian phrase that you said. It's like, I think also it's like it's a two-sided thing, as you said, because the thing is that you know where you want to go and who you think your niche is. But if you're too stuck on that way, you won't be able to listen to the other things. So it's also that perspective that you need to actually, okay, but I will test this. I will talk to you, Alicia, and say, okay, this is how I think it is. What do you think? And if you get the feedback and you go like, yeah, but this is not really talking to me, even though you're my kind of, you're in my niche, you're my target audience. I talk to you and I get the feedback that you don't really get this. This is not. So the best way to learn about things is actually to talk to your audience. It's and if you see, like most people do, is like say, test your product, make kind of a minimal, like an MVP, minimal viable product, and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And as you probably heard as well, it's like sometimes they say sell your product before you actually make it.
I know.
Yeah, and it's like, because then you can just talk about your product. If you have the kind of the overall thing and you say, I'm thinking about doing this and this and this course, for example, that would include this and this. So how does this resonate for you? Would this be something you would buy? And if you're my target audience and you say, no, definitely not. It's like, no, wouldn't be interested. And I talk to some other people in the target audience and they go like, nah, don't think so.
But that's the other thing. Where do you find your audience? You are no one in your line. You've got nothing.
You're never nobody, Alicia. Sorry.
It's fine. That's another thing that I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because imagine, and that was my case. I had my online. I wish I had my online more clear. My physical company was in a small village. I mean, they always say, and this is true. You have to build your whatever business you create, whether it's physical or online. It's going to be based on experience and knowledge, studies, education, your personal life, even all the things that make you, which we talk in episode 2. But imagine that you are in your mid-40s, like I was when the pandemic hit and everything. You're trying to reinvent yourself. Obviously, can we apply this for someone who's new? Probably we could as well, because you just stopped university and you're starting your first time job. It could work as well. We it's just a different age in your lifetime. But if you are in your 20s, you don't know many people apart from your class colleagues, if you're someone from uni. And they might be actually the same as you, trying to figure out a lot of things. If I go back to uni time, it was like that. We were all trying to either be teachers or work in a bookshop, or because philologists, we like produced to become a teacher. It's like there's no other jobs for a philologist. Well, hello, there are translators, there are other things, but they're not sold to us. Writers, investigators, all these things I found by myself. And you have to say, right, maybe for someone on their 20s now, in their 20s, it's easy because they have contacts in social media. But mainly these contacts are going to be people you don't might want to necessarily, you don't want them to know what do you do for a living.
Yeah.
You know, the people you know, and I know this is how you start, with your neighbor, with your friend, with a cousin, with a coach, with a therapy, with whatever. But you can't just go to them and bombard them, I feel, with your, I'm going to do this business. Can you give me some opinion? I just feel like I'm intruding there. It's like you're forcing it down. And then going and finding new eyes that really resonate with my product, I still find that absolutely terrible. Because if I spend that time, I'm not building my product, because I'm just trying to find friends that might like a product that I can't build because I'm talking to them. So for someone who's new, your audience, where is the audience? If we all really burn out from social media, and as I said, don't, apart from the friends and the people we have around us, if you don't want to deal with them because you had bad experiences, or you found, like in my case, I didn't want to talk to people in town anymore, and they were the only clients that I had for the last 10 years, it's very difficult to find a new audience when you're also carrying your trauma back.
Yeah. But it's for me, I'm the same as you. I started up my own business when I was like in the mid 40s, and or starting like in the 40s. But for me, it was more like, as I think I told something about this in episode 2, but I thought about when I started my business, I've been working with the digital marketing for so many years. And I was like, I'm not going to work with digital marketing. I just want to let that be and do the coaching. And then when meeting, because I took so many, when I started like the COVID, I took so many coaching, both courses and certifications online, that I met so many people there. And I think that was the way, because every time when you talk about people, for example, coaches or people that's really passionate about the things they do, they always struggle with marketing. And for me, that was like, okay, but I can you could just do this. And so what I noticed was, like, for me, going from the thing that I don't want to do digital marketing at all, I want to do the coaching part. And then I was really niche and was like going, no, I'm not going to kind of talk to the people I used to. I need to find something new and talk to other people. But then suddenly everything kind of goes into this mold, as you said. It's like, because I see that I can't really leave behind the things I thought I wanted to leave behind. The marketing was always, I was like, yeah, but I know this. For me, it's in my backbone. It's like, okay, but this is not so difficult. If you want to put up a web page, it's quite easy. It's just you need to have a target and a goal and something to say, and what do you want to say? And it's, so for me, it was more like, as you said in the beginning here, it's like, it kind of, you start off with one thing, thinking that, I did at least, thinking that this was my niche. And then the more I worked with it, I found that, this isn't my niche. These are more my people. This is my niche. And then starting as a coach, I did like the Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi course. And they said, like, yeah, usually, or many times, your own audience is yourself a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, but where was I in a couple of years ago? So it's really difficult to find your niche because it's different for every one of us. It's for example, as you say, if you come from the uni and start off, I think the most important thing is to kind of do some research. It's like, okay, if your passion is, for example, if it is art, okay, so what do you want to sell? What is your art about? Who is kind of your audience to buy these? If it's pictures, if it's sculptures, if it's yeah, you need to do some research. That's my first and most important thing, I think, is to do some research on yourself and try to build. But what you said about networking, that is, in the beginning, I was like, I've never been a network person. I don't really like networking. But now that I have become this old, I see that that is just so important because so many things, at least where I am here in Norway, it kind of it's built upon that you know this person doing this, and you know this guy, and you know this girl, and he does this, she does that, and then you kind of yeah, but I know this person, and it kind of yeah, it goes around more like friends of friends, and then the network. And if you talk to people, they go like, but I know Cecilia, she's really good at this, so please talk to her. And I think I don't know if I said that in a previous episode. It's like I haven't done any kind of commercials for my own company. In these
Wow.
5 years, I actually had 5 years celebration here a couple of days ago, but I haven't.
Yeah, it was. I said something.
But I haven't seen that, for example. No, but sorry about that.
Maybe didn't go because I was in the car and I don't think I had didn't have Wi-Fi. So I think
Yeah,
don't go.
I will check. But still, it's just it's 5 years without doing any commercials because it's kind of word of mouth. Every client I've had is like they're happy with the work I've done, so they talk around and they say, okay, this is what you do, and okay, we recommend Cecilia, she did this and she helped us with this. And but I still haven't found my niche. I'm still working on my niche, even though you have kind of found it along the way. I still haven't found my niche because I'm working on my business all along. And I think it's difficult to kind of find who is my target audience. Yeah, I could target it towards, like we talk to entrepreneurs mainly now, for example, in our podcast. And what I see is that I have like many entrepreneurs on my client list as well. But since I've been working in global companies as well, I know how they work. So I have a couple of big companies as well on my client list. But of course, it's different ways of both targeting the message, and it's different. So the way I target my messages, for example, on Instagram and Facebook, it's mostly towards entrepreneurs because that's where I actually feel like that is my target audience. But on LinkedIn, it's a bit different because there I'm actually targeting more businesses.
Businesses, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need to know. So that go with what you say. We need to really know what each platform does.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to fit the LinkedIn, the Gothic, and it's not happening.
No,
But
I don't think it would work.
No, it doesn't. I tell you, it doesn't. And the fact that I posted the other day our first episode, hey, or of the intro or something. No, it was the photo. It was a photo, and I got like triple the time of the people checking that on, and I was like, I can see what people say. I just didn't want to believe it because I was on the first point of this idea of I'm trying to create something and it's going to be this way. So there's a bit of rigidity there. I think there's some entrepreneurs we have because this is what I want to do. And then you don't really, you put blinkers, don't you? You put blinkers on. And even though everybody's saying LinkedIn is for businesses, Instagram is more for, I don't really know what Instagram is for photos. And yes, more of the visuals, isn't it? And then, well, even though, I know there's a psychologist here in Spain, Omar Rueda, that I really love following because of my sister as well. And he has rails on Instagram and he talks about the mind. He talks about psychological problems, about narcissism. specialty, really. And you think, well, there's people in the self-development space, and it's not all about photos, because he just talks about narcissism. So he's got a lot of audience there too. So sometimes it's not actually, I don't know, Facebook. Some people really talk badly about Facebook, but I've been to a summit last week, as I was telling you before, and they were saying, no, Facebook is not dead. Blogging is not dead. You just you need to know how to do it properly.
But I think also the thing is, I notice when I share something personal, it peaks.
Yeah.
If I share my own thoughts and reflections and things like that, for example, I told you about the other post on LinkedIn I had the other day, and that was from a conference here in Bergen, actually, in Norway. And for me, it was like, I really need to actually digest the whole conference before I write something. So for me, that was kind of a test as well. I did it mostly as a test, because I was like, the thing they talk about, this was mainly AI, and it's how Bergen can kind of put its mark on the map. But for me, the interpretation was, it's like, this is, what do you say, the technical meeting the humanism. It's like, we have to remember that's the human part of AI, that we don't lose ourselves. So the way I wrote that was just my own thoughts about, like, this is how I see it, and how they had actually Sweden's previous prime minister there, Göran Persson.
Okay.
And he was just a brilliant guy. I really liked it. He was like down to earth, and he mentioned that he needed a, what did he say? A mental shower during the day. I think that was the word he used. It's like, he needed to take a mental shower. And that was the thing he meant by that was 20 minutes just closing his eyes and energizing. So he said, my grandfather did this, my father did this, I do this. I actually did it backstage just now, just closing my eyes and kind of, going within, and then waking up again and feeling more energized. And he had a really cute thing, because he said, now I feel really energized and beautiful. And I was like, my God, love the guy. So the post I had on LinkedIn was kind of my interpretation of the whole conference. And then I added a picture of, it's Aurora. She's a musician from Norway, Bergen here.
Yeah.
And what do you say? She's famous, but she's not too famous. But here in Bergen, she's a cool lady. Trude Drevland, her name is.
Easy to say Spaniard.
But it was just a picture for you coming from Spain, looking at this picture with two ladies in a car. It was just a picture I took from the conference. It's just really, for me, when that came up on the screen, I was like, my God, what is this? I became really curious, and I love the picture. So for you, it wouldn't say anything, but for the people here in both Bergen, maybe Norway, but it's a great picture. So I think also that the composition about the text and the picture, because the picture was a kind of a grabber.
Yeah.
And the text kind of added things. But that was a good kind of, it got a lot of reach, just that one. I think I now have 2,500, 3,000. So it's, yeah, but it's good. But it's, if you see some of the people on LinkedIn, they have them like really great reach. But this was just me trying out, instead of selling, I'm just going to write my thoughts.
Yes. Well, at the end of the day, I think when we sell following everything we've learned about selling, we are not human, really. It's not us behind it. It's like as a person, we don't have enough value to talk for ourselves, and then we're using all these learned things from selling that we acquired. And what really is going to get people to us is actually being yourself. I used to think, when I had the school, going back to what I really know, is I remember from one year to the next, when kids came and teenagers came, and they were asking the first day, who's my teacher this year? Because I had a few workers with me. And every time I said, well, you've got me this year, I'm sorry. And they were, yes. Okay. All my teachers were teaching my dossier. So I was a little bit of a a dictator there. You're going to teach this and nothing else. Because I wanted everybody to be following the same. I wanted everybody to have a clear structure. And so I created my own method and everything. But still, every teacher was different, because what we brought in the classes was different. My passion wasn't the passion of someone else or somebody else's. We all had our different things. But the way, obviously, it was my business, so it was my baby. And the people sense that. So for an entrepreneur as well, on an online thing, if people, considering that we don't see each other face to face, if your energy is not in the right place, if you don't really believe what you are doing, if you're just trying to do it because financially you need to start bringing money, that people sense that and they don't come. Because that's why I find difficult to say, well, is the brand really you? Well, you have a lot to do for the brand. You have a lot to say. It could be that your client comes to you first because you're the only face on it right now.
Yeah.
And secondly, because you have a low vibe, you have to make such an effort to get the message across. If you don't believe in it, and if you don't have the right vibes, and then people just don't follow. They're not interested. And the same happens with articles. You don't have the person in front of you. If you're writing an article through this article to introduce yourself to a new market, like what I do on Medium, then the day I write an article that is soulless, because I just want to write, so I have another article out there.
Yeah.
That article doesn't bring me much money.
No,
the other day I wrote an article about crochet, and I used a good headline, like from a good tool, which we can talk about tools at another time. I used my personal experience, but I didn't talk about me all the time. I was actually talking I was writing, and I think this is very important for the entrepreneur looking for a niche. I was trying to solve one problem only. And this is something you've been telling me all along. What are you selling? What do you do? Why are you doing it? And I thought all these things that came up in this last week's summit as well. And I'm like, oh, Cecilia should be here, because they were your questions. And I thought, okay, I'm going to apply this, not just the whole business, just to one article and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I posted that article thinking, okay, what is solving? What problem is this article solving? And it was solving self-reflection through crochet, using a personal example from me and my son. I managed to tangle all that with Jungian analysis and Gothic literature. I put all that together. That was unique for me with my own view. I'm earning, so far, I've got $13 from that article.
That's good.
In 4 days. Which it means it's not a lot, because I could make a lot more. And I made with another article a lot more in the past. But it follows a similar pattern. I'm solving one single problem, or I'm talking to one single aspect, and it's helping the people, the person reading it, they seeing that, oh, this is an activity I might not have considered or that I have done in the past. When I do this activity, it helps me in this way, but I've never thought of this other way. There was a bit of a lesson there as well, and it was Jung's personal way of playing with things around to get introspection and figuring out the whole of his theories, which is really big,
Yeah.
But I thought, it's true. Is concentrate. There's so much noise. You just have to concentrate on one thought at a time. And if your thing is the Gothic, like in my case, I'm passionate about scary films and ghosts and monsters. What is it that I could tell people that they can learn from? If thinking about myself, when I watch Supernatural, for three times I've watched it. And that's not enough. I mean, the people in Supernatural have seen this like 10 times. And I mean, I'm talking about 15 years of production. And exactly. So imagine how much it's actually affected or reached so many people. But what did I feel at the time? What were the lessons at that time? And if I want to talk about these, and I think there's one episode when, I mean, all the time the two brothers are dying, but when they come in front of losing each other, how they face death, how they face trauma, their reactions, there are so many lessons there. If you just take that little aspect that is quite crucial in the series, and you say, how did that help me when I was watching it? At the time I was watching it, how did that help me? And then I can develop my whole article or my whole product or my whole speech or my whole brand around the idea of how to overcome trauma from death, transition, and turn that into something that can help someone. And then you have to obviously be thinking if it's going to be blog posting, if it's going to be maybe a product with some, I don't know, with some multiple choice to figure out who you are. It depends also on what you want to teach there, or you want to write an essay about it and then be part of a book and a collaboration for a book, because there are people collaborating. I mean, I'm part of one as well. I'm still waiting to see when that's going to come out. But while you're writing your essay, you're figuring a lot of things about yourself while you investigate as well. And the person who later on reads that book with essays, they're going to have so many aha moments you're not going to be aware of.
Yeah, but the thing I think about there is how can you sell that one to people and make them understand that they need it, they want it.
It's because of is the famous, in this case you talk about Supernatural, and there are so many Supernatural fans that they're gonna, in that case I have very clear the audience, the target audience, Supernatural fans. But within the Supernatural fans, there's going to be some that really want to read about that aspect and not maybe another. So in that case, it's pretty clear that if you're a Supernatural fan yourself,
no,
I mean, a lot of people haven't, but I know there's thousands, because I'm in multiple groups on Facebook, and we do talk, but I don't feel like I want to sell anything to them. That's another problem, because I feel like they're just friends that we can have a chat about Supernatural, and I'm probably missing out. Probably. Big time.
Yeah. But I think one thing we need to take into consideration as well is like, because when you talk about entrepreneurs like me and you and brand building, are you just building your own brand? Are you kind of your brand and your business, or are you doing, or are you an entrepreneur who does start something and you want to build something bigger? Because there are entrepreneurs that kind of, so you have a distinction there between solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, or like, yeah, because some people that are entrepreneurs, they start something that they want to kind of build big, and then it's no sense in making you your own brand, if you see what I mean. It is a sense, but you need to have yourself with it. So if you're the CEO and this is kind of built upon you, but the problem then is often that, as we both know, it's like if things go wider and bigger than the CEO, the person who started the business, they will actually slow the business down, because they won't actually give the responsibility or the opportunities to others, because they're still in their own niche, their own passion. This is what I thought it would be, and people have so many good things, or suggestion on how you can improve, what you can build, and how we can kind of innovate the product. And then the person who started it is kind of like this and doesn't want to, because their thought is this and I don't want to do this. So that is a trap, like some entrepreneurs really go into as well. It's like they have their own thing, they have their thought, their own baby, and then it kind of grows beyond them. and
Yes.
they're still stuck in their own thing. So that is also a thing to consider.
Yeah, that's so true, because it's right. So we're talking really, so for people to understand, the solopreneur will be you and I on our own with our own business, which is the one woman band,
Yeah.
and the entrepreneur would later on have people helping out. Yeah, is that what the difference is? Because I play around with the both words terminology, but I
Yeah.
don't really pay attention, and we should really, because yeah, you're right. I've not thought of.
No, but
I guess
it's for me and you, it's like if we were to build this and build the big brand. I had an employee last year, like working 50% for me, but it was still promoting my business and my brand.
yeah,
And if that would work, it sounds really because my name, my company name is Fröken Hjortland or Miss Hjortland. So having people, then I would really rethink the whole thing, because then it wouldn't be. It was just a quick decision, because when you start what in Norwegian they call kind of a single man show business, you need to use your own name to kind of set it up. So I needed to
yeah.
have something with my surname or my first name, and that was just everybody just calls me Fröken Hjortland, Miss Hjortland. That was
And something that I need to learn how to pronounce.
Fröken.
No, I can't. Again, again, again.
Fröken.
Fröken.
Fröken. Yeah,
Fröken. Sounds like
Fröken.
it's like French, German. Whoa,
It is
I like to know. Yeah, it's so complicated. Fröken. No, I'm saying something
Fröken.
rude.
Frö.
Frö.
Frö. We have this so frö.
Yeah, frö.
Fröken.
Frö. Can't.
Ken. Not
Can't.
T. Ken. Fröken.
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 Fröken. Whoa. I'm gonna have to give you now a word in Spanish to see how you pronounce that. Oh, you know my surname. Try to say Domínguez.
Domínguez.
Oh, you can
Domínguez.
say
Domínguez.
that. Domínguez.
Alicia. Alicia.
Alicia. That.
Alicia.
Yeah, you can say it's easier for you. Yeah, you got all these sounds.
Yeah, we
Fantastic.
do.
Yeah, I love that. Sorry, it's the linguist there coming out, being nosy, wanted to learn.
Yeah,
No,
but
but you
talking about the branding, it would be strange if I had a huge, but it would be kind of funny as well. That would be actually kind of my humor, calling the whole company Miss Hjortland, and then we had like 100 employees. Would be fun, but still would be strange.
even the little things like that when you're first starting. I mean, I don't know, when you started thinking about yourself as an entrepreneur or solopreneur, what were your thoughts? Did you brainstorm? How did it happen? Did you just start doing? Because there's this, we get this impulse, don't we? Oh, I want to create, and we just go, let's create a logo. and,
Yeah, but
and
that is also what I do with my clients when like brand building brands. It's like, what do you want the brand to be?
yes,
So who are you and what are your values? It's all these questions. We talked about this. It's like, who are you? What are your values? What do you actually want to bring forth to your clients? What is the thing you want to have them, what do you say? When you talk to them and work with them, what is the feeling they should
yeah,
should stay with them after working with you? It's like, so for me, it's my logo is just really, really plain and simple, because that's me. I want to be clear and
yes,
simple, honest,
yes,
clear and simple. So for me, it's I have the pink one with it, or I change the color, but it's just the H and the FRK, which stands for Miss Fröken. And
ah,
for me, it's when I made that one, it was just because I can be playful with it. I can change the pink background to a blue background, to a black background, to a gold background, to like the pride flag, to whatever. So for me, it was simple, but I could play with it. And for me, kind of being a bit playful is important.
yes, sure. And while you are building your logo, while you were building your logo, designing it, were you actually thinking, I want to do this with these? You know, when you're thinking, I'm trying to go like really deep. You know, when you're designing stuff, excuse me, when you're designing stuff, your brain is kind of in the creative mode, so it's kind of coming up with things, and it's probably imagining, oh, my client is going to be, is it your brain already, was your brain already doing this visualization of your ideal client, where you were going to find them, or wait, no.
The
So
thing when
how
I
does
do,
it,
sorry.
yeah, so no, keep going, because you might answer the
Yeah,
question now.
it's just when I sat down and made my logo, it was nothing about my clients. It was all about me.
Mm,
And that was
right.
that is kind of the way I work with my clients. It's why I hadn't thought about this, but the thing for example, I made now for a client of mine. Her name is, or she's like Jacobsen Consulting, for example.
Another easy name for the Spaniards.
Yeah, we have all these really great names in Norwegian. But for example, she is really businessy. If I may, like, so she is blue, she's business, everything is kind of
Yeah.
proper, and yeah. But still, the lady behind this brand, she is like really loving, compassionate, warm. And for me, when making that logo, it was all about her. It's not the most difficult logo, but it's just she kind of breaks the businessy style with her being her. So it's actually um, the Jacobsen Consulting is really, what do you say, proper, neat, bam, bam, bam. But
Yeah.
the logo mark is kind of a round thing with the H, which is her because her name is Hege.
Mm.
The logo is really, and it goes beyond the circle because she kind of thinks outside the box a bit.
Oh, that's nice.
So for me, it's kind of it's all about the person I'm making the logo for. So
Mm-hmm.
so when I made my own as well, it was okay. This is me. I'm playful, so there are all the colors I can use, but I'm really straightforward. So the H is really, it's really defined. It's clear. It's concise. It's playful with the colors. Uh, but I feel it's a bit of an honesty to it, and for me, it's like honesty is one of my big ones. It's like I won't I won't tell you a lie. I will say it straightforward like this. Never be rude or anything, but I will tell you straightforward what I think and
Mm.
my thoughts around it. So for me, that is kind of when I build logos for clients, it's the same thing. It's kind of who are the people behind the brand? Is it, as we say, if you call it a solopreneur, or is it an entrepreneur, or is it a big company? So what kind of defines the company? What is important for them to bring across to their clients
Yeah.
in regards to what we talked about, also values? It's like, what are kind of their values? And I think so many companies talk about their values and like really it's all the same values. If you go, for example, here in Bergen, I think most of them have probably all the same values, but it's still, there's different companies.
Mm.
But it's finding the essence, I think, more.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking all this, because where do you find, the same way I was asking before, where did you find your audience, and how do you approach them without sounding that you're trying to sell, but also how do you find your values? Is once you're asking me what is your business, why are you doing this for, how do you find answers to those questions? If you say to me, and this is the thing, how do you define what you do? And then my question will be, how can I tell you? How can I tell you this when it's so long? Number one. Two, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. I know I can do something. I think a lot of people were stuck in this stupid loop
Yeah.
that yeah, the values. What does that even mean? And we've talked about it privately many times, and I think I know what they mean. But why is that important for the business? Why should I have to think about this? All I want to do is read books and talk about them. All I want
And
to do is write stories and sell them. All I want to do is to tell people what I've learned and how am I making money from something like that. Because the other thing is, when you're trying to find this passion, I wrote it down, maybe that passion, and goes back to figuring out your brand niche. What are you talking about? When it's something, we're not talking about easy things that people are finding all over the place. I'm talking about passions that are not accepted as much socially as something that is going to make you wealthy. Let's go back to your daughter last episode. You were saying she's brilliant at all this arts stuff, and yet she's not considering those abilities for a future job.
Yeah.
How can someone like your daughter find a business? Say that now she wanted to become a solopreneur or an entrepreneur like you with all her artistic abilities. What would you tell her to do? Where would she go to find her audience? Where can she go to start this online or this business for herself? How can she go, even not to start like on her own? How can she send herself to a company even to say, this is me, the artistic me? She knows deep down that she's going to get people looking at her. Friends are going to say, that's just a hobby. How many people, possible business solopreneurs or entrepreneurs, are there scratching their heads because of that? Because we are not all scientists, we're not all mathematicians, we're not all doctors, we're not all business people that sell businesses, we're not all into music, or even music. Some people make good money from that because people want to learn music, and
Many people make money from music. Many people make money from arts.
Exactly. Yeah, but how do we do that? How can we help someone, an entrepreneur with this profile, and say, find your niche with your art?
For example, with my daughter, for example, and I talk to her myself, and if I would speak to others, it's like, that is the thing. If this is your passion, you find a way. That is my first and foremost belief, is that if this is really, really your passion, you love it, this is what you want to do, you'll find a way. And the other thing that's important as well, and we all struggle with, is believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So if I were to talk to my daughter, if I were to talk to a friend or a client, it's believing in yourself. Believe in yourself that you have something to bring to the table, because we don't need more mathematicians, scientists. It's not that I'm saying it's enough of them, but we need dreamers as well. We can't be all the same. We can't be all business people. Yeah, but I think that just thinking that the world would be a better place if you actually contribute with your passion. We need people with passion. And I actually saw this in I don't know exactly where I read about it, but it was this guy who was he was a druggie, and he just loved painting and drawing, and he have made millions in a year.
Whoa.
And I just saw some of his paintings or drawings, and they were really, really great paintings. It was like, where there is a will, there is a way.
Well, probably there. Sorry, I'm stopping you, but probably there. If he was someone troubled, I'm just thinking because I don't know the guy. If he was someone troubled, through his art, he brought out what was deep down in his mind, in his unconscious mind.
You and me as well. It's through our trauma, through our troubles, through our experience, the whole way around, from what do you say, youth, childhood to now. That's what we bring into our business. It's the same thing you bring into your business. That's why it's like the Gothic.
Yeah.
It's you from childhood to now.
Yes.
And it's a passion. It's your passion. So I think we need people with passion. We need people like you as well, that kind of, for me, it's like thinking a bit outside the box, even though it's not outside the box. You're in, you're not in the box, but you're. So
yeah,
for
well,
me, yeah.
No, it's true. There's a part, I think the world needs more people to think deeply and profoundly about themselves. Yeah.
But when we talk about values as well, because when you said, yeah, how can I use my values if I know my values? The thing is, like, for me, I actually have this coaching, would say session or
Mm.
I think that
Another list,
yeah,
another list to hang.
but that's a really good exercise. It's an exercise. It takes a couple of hours, but it's finding your values, and
Oh,
that's important for you, nobody else.
yes.
Because when I did this, I've done this with several clients, and this one lady, she was like, "My God, this was just an aha moment." She had set up like 5 values. And she was like, "Yeah, but I know my values. But we can do this exercise even though, because I know my values."
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of talked her through these values, and suddenly, like, whoop, came something in like structure. And she was like, "I hate structure, don't like structure." And we started discussing this and talked about this. And suddenly now her number one value is structure.
Wow.
Because but the reason why we make what I say, why I think it's important to know your values is that for you, for example, when you know your values and you go into businesses and you say that, for example, passion is one of your values, for example, and you meet other people thinking about going into business with them, like me, for example, not compassionate about anything, no, but it's kind of a map to where you're going, I think, because if
Mm-hmm.
then your values doesn't really, if say we were doing this thing like this podcast together, and
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
up with this suggestion and you thought, "My God, she's not actually like one of your values, I'm not really ticking off that value at all for you." For example, say it's honesty, and you go like, "Cecilia, she's just totally fake." Then it would be easier for you to go like, "But it doesn't coincide with my values."
Mm, yes.
So for me, it would go like, it's an easy decision. Maybe not an easy decision, but I wouldn't go into partnership with Cecilia because she doesn't tick off these. And these are
Yes.
so important for me to be able to run my business, to be able to kind of feel good about everything and knowing that I'm going the way I want to. She needs to
Mm,
tick off these, or I need to feel confident that. So that is kind of why I talk about the values. It's knowing your values. It makes it easier to kind of lead your way, find your
okay.
way through the whole thing. That this is so important for me. For example, if I were to say to Nikki, my daughter, okay, we would go really into, but what is important for her? Because she is really passionate about arts. She's just so good at drawing and painting and all of this stuff. And but the thing I noticed, as we talked about, that's stopping her is the belief in herself that somebody would actually buy this, pay money for it. And I think that is where so many of us stop ourselves, because I do
Yeah.
this. Yeah, but would somebody
But
pay money for it?
what is she actually going to be doing? Considering that she's got you as a mom, is she going to try to do something about it? Is she believing in herself, or what is she? Because that's such a good example as well for what we're talking about. You've got this at home. Like I've got my 13-year-old growing, and now he's got these kind of questions too about future and partners and stuff. And if we're helping our own family to get through these thoughts, then obviously we can help other people too. But
Yeah.
in your case, how is she? What is she taking away? What steps is she taking? Because this is what's going to help the audience as well. What steps is she taking to believe more in herself and to follow that passion?
The thing I tell her all the way is, I think we talked about this in a previous episode as well, is that you can't do anything wrong. Do what you think is right for you now. It's not an error. It's just learning. So it's that if you do this course, if you go to uni and take this course and you don't like it, so what?
So is that what she's going to do next year? She's going to continue pursuing this artistic.
She's not really decided yet, but she just got a job yesterday, and that is also
Oh,
in this artistic thing. It's a shop where you
oh,
sell all these things to be creative and artistic. So, but she's still on her last year here in Norway. But her plan is to work this half year for now. I think she's planning to work this half year and then go off to Rome or Paris to do either. She's really interested in languages as well. So she was like, there is actually one in Denmark she's looking at that is kind of artistic. And then there is Paris and Rome, which are more, philosophy and learning languages. And what I always encourage my children to do is just see the world. So, as you know, I want to go to Paris or Rome myself. So it's like, yeah, do it. That was 6 months, I think. So then she thought about doing maybe this and then starting something, because she said, okay, then I can think a bit about where I want to go, but it's photography, it's digital design, it's movie making. So she's
throwing it down a bit. Yeah. But she's there. She's not doing cooking, for example.
No, but she's good at cooking as well.
She actually together, yeah.
She's thought about starting a cake baking company because she's really, really good at making cakes. Wow. And, creating and decorating. She's really brilliant.
I was going to say, because there's so many places now where they do it. They're artists. I mean, they know how to bake these things, but it's art. Some of the things you can see, it's just. I even saw once, and you believe this, in the Gothic space. It just reminded me of this. In the Gothic space, a group of Goths that ordered a cake for the party, and it was a human-shaped cake, and it had the strawberry jam inside. So they all bited it, and it was coming out, this jam. It was pretty gross in a way, and they were carving it and grabbing it with their hands like they. And the person who made this cake was an artist, because he made all the intestines, the organs of the person with sponge, and stuff, and coloring, and it was gross, but and with sweets, but it was so well made for Goths.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. I was like, what am I doing here? There's a lot of people that want products in this field, but it's finding all this where you're saying, get your creativity and the balance as well. Your creativity in a balanced way, where it's actually something that you're going to find clients, because when you do research, as you said, you're going to find people who are going to resonate with that, but it's still something that you as Cecilia or as Alicia or as whoever is what really makes you enjoy and play. Like when we were kids, that is playful, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that is kind of where we lose ourselves, because the problem as an entrepreneur, if you're not making money, you're kind of all over the place, because then you're looking here and looking there, and maybe I can do something here, and maybe I can do something there. And I know I've been in that trap so many times. It's like, but okay, I'll sell this because, this will give me some money in. And then I sell this because. So that is a problem as well, because it's not easy making it as an entrepreneur. So I don't know. But it's important then to kind of be clear of your values and your way, I think. And just think of the question, and I've told that to you as well. It's like, what's in it for me? Everyone says that. So if you're selling something or you're doing something, so just knowing that the other person on the other side is going to say, what's in it for me?
Yes.
They're not trying to kind of sell why and what for me, but what's in it for the other person? What can I help the other person with? Like, what is the problem I'm helping them solve? What is their pain point in which I help them with and can help them with? So instead of talking, for example, if we sell courses about everything that's included, what are the problems we're actually solving for the people taking the course?
Yeah, and are we happy? Do we feel happy when we do that as well? Because maybe something we've learned, then we can give advice and we can tell a lot of things, but maybe we're not enjoying doing that. I think that's key as well. We've integrated so much abilities that we can do with our eyes closed that we're not thinking if we're enjoying them.
No.
Because then that's going to start narrowing down. If you are someone who has a lot of possibilities, you're going to then, the question is, which one am I going to go for? Because whichever path I take is going to take some time, and I can't be making the mistake of throwing my life away. I think at the end, what makes a difference is this passion that you were talking about. If when you are producing this or giving advice, you're not feeling, I think the feeling is that when you're helping someone, and we're not going to say sell again, like I did last week, when you're helping someone, yeah, because it's the helping, that's the key. And it changes your brain does a different thing when you say sell or when you say help. If
Yeah.
you're helping someone, when you really are genuinely helping someone, you don't care if the person is going to come back to you with feedback. You don't care if you're going to get paid for that. You don't care if it's late at night when the person sends you a message and you feel like you want to reply to it. It doesn't feel the same way as when you are not comfy in that space anymore, or when you're not really resonating with that. And I'll give you a quick example. I have this friend that she used to be a language student. And when in the past she asked me for things about language and which exam could she take or things like that, I would get really, really frustrated. It was obviously towards the end of having the business open, but
Yeah.
I was like, it's Sunday. Why should I reply to that? She already knows the answer because we talked about it for ages. I'm fed up of these questions, and I'm sure that she's not even going to pay for this service that I'm offering now. And then I'm going to have to send her a list, and it was all but. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Yes, this same person, yesterday or the day before, she sent me, and I saw it at 9, and she sent a message at 7. And it was an experience, a very personal experience. We have a bit of history together with radio programs and collaboration, and she wrote a book, and I've helped her with some chapters and stuff. But we are kind of on and off in this relationship that we have. And she sent me a WhatsApp the other day, a voicemail, and she told me about a dream experience she had, and it was with sleep paralysis related, and some illnesses and things. So I was listening because I know the situation and I know how she thinks and outside the language space. And she was asking she wasn't even asking for an opinion. She was just sharing, because she said, you are the only Jungian person that I know. I feel really honored. I forgot that at some point she stopped being a client. I forgot that at some point she started asking me things on Sunday. I forgot about all of that. And I gave her my most honest opinion, not being still a professional in this space. I was just so happy to say, this is what I think. And I think that you have all the answers already. But this is my opinion. If you want to keep talking about it, I'm here. And in that positioning, I felt something that clicked in me as well, because I thought, she's probably not going to come back. It doesn't matter. Is she going to be a client from this? Probably not. But it's helping her somehow. And if it helps her, the fact that she's not coming right now, but she keeps coming to me, it means that out there's a business for me with people who might want to really take it on board and take it professionally.
Yeah.
So you get to that point, Cecilia, as you know, it has rained a lot, like we say in Spain. It has rained a lot, man. So
Yeah.
So yeah, as an entrepreneur, and then if you want, we could start wrapping up a little bit here. Maybe not this one, maybe we can say this one. As an entrepreneur, if we are thinking on skyrocketing our niche and staying balanced, what do you think could be the takeaways from this episode? That for starters, people who are just starting, or people who have started but want to revisit those first steps, what do you think we could just summarize a few points for them?
I think the most important thing, as I said, believe in yourself. Believe that you have something that other people need.
That's number one, yeah? You say that
Yeah.
believing yourself is the first one. Okay, let's give
Yeah.
him a bit of...
Yeah.
Good.
First one is
Yeah.
believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So if you would say number 2, what would you say?
I think your values is what you were saying. The belief in yourself, and then the values should be the next.
Know your
Because it's
values.
part of, yeah, I think so. Because it goes hand in hand with the believing as well, because then you're not going to put filters on this is a value, but no, because you're already believing in yourself. You're not going to put an impediment. You're going to see all your values and you're not going to question them. So I think number 2 should be that.
But I think also, instead of being like, really, I need to know my niche, it's just start off, jump into it, start. That's the most important thing. Start.
Post things. Yeah, the next thing will be just
and then you will get some feedback, and then you will see, okay, do people really like what I'm saying, what I'm bringing to the table? And just start, and your niche will actually come as you go along. Of course, if you know that this is my niche, brilliant. I'm happy for you if you do so. I don't think most entrepreneurs do not know their niche. But if you know that, for example, you're what do you say, a doctor, and you're starting up, okay, you have all the people,
Yes.
It's just start, I think.
Yes. So the starting, and then as you were starting, should we say that another point could be like investigating, which is something you mentioned as well. Keep investigating your own niche and your own passion, more than the niche, the passion. Keep investigating the passion. And do you think that in the meantime, people, at what point, maybe this is for another episode, at what point do you start thinking about a web page or a blog or any kind of system or any lead magnet? And then we can define what a lead magnet is for those who don't know. At what point, because this would be like step A, really figuring things out and going within and talking to people.
Yeah.
At what point do we need to start also intertwining technology, learning some tools?
I think you should start off quite early with that, actually, so people know what to follow you. If they think that you have something interesting to say, I think, if you don't have the money to start off a web page, have a Facebook page, then have your own Instagram account, have your YouTube account.
That's simple, rather than getting
so find I think also finding the platform in which you're most comfortable with. If that is YouTube, is it Instagram, is it Facebook? Start with one of these platforms, TikTok for that sake. But have an account and start looking, okay, do I reach somebody? Is people interested in my content? And then when you I think also, even though we talk about Facebook, it is dead. It's not completely dead. It's good to have a page where they actually can have your contact info. You have that on Instagram as well. But I think having an Instagram and then Facebook account should be it. And then when you have the money for it, you don't need a fancy schmancy webpage. It could be a simple one. But start simple, start with the things. And I think, again, just start.
Yes, just start. So this is it. It starts somehow with not getting yourself too obsessed that you're losing your balance. But make sure that whatever you do it well, that you're happy with what you do. Maybe it's not proper, but if you're happy with it, it's bound to turn out okay. If you're not happy with it, you're going to have many flaws. And then that's how you can actually skyrocket your niche and be happy with what you do. So, absolutely. So, 4 points. And passion, first of all, yes. Going back a bit, if you don't know what your passion is anymore because you're traumatized like I was, then go back to something you used to do in your own time as a child. Was that reading a scary book? Was that knitting? Was that creating something outside? Was that cooking with your mom? Was that helping a neighbor with the garden? Figure out what was the activity that you used to find yourself in doing the most and why, and take it from there. Because we kind of
but the thing again is like finding your way. I lost it now when sorry. Passion, and I think starting, and as I said to my daughter as well, it's like, don't think that you're failing if nothing works or it doesn't work. Try again. Take it as learning and do that by learning, and at the end you'll actually find your way. So I think,
Great
and
advice.
don't again think about what other people think, because that is the really where we all go, is like, oh, but they would think. They do only just care about themselves. They don't care about you.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great advice, Cecilie. I think that's one of the best advices I've heard this week. It's just listen. If you have to listen to people outside, listen how you've helped them. Don't listen to their criticism, or take it with a pinch of salt. Don't let it change your plans, because you're gonna you're gonna end up doing what you want in the end. Because your unconscious mind is not going to let you otherwise. Your dreams are going to be talking to you. Your dreams are fantastic. They're full of information, and we neglect them. So yes, absolutely. Great advice.
I think that's the key takeaway. It's like, and if you start getting people saying or criticizing you, then you're doing something right. Because if people start copying you, criticizing you, they actually care about what you do. Then you're making them think, you're making them have an opinion. And that is the key takeaway, I think, is when people start caring about what you do, then you're doing something right.
Absolutely. Yes. Brilliant. Well, I think we can wrap up here. So thanks for another fantastic episode, Cecilie. So we've talked about how to skyrocket your niche, staying balanced. And people, don't forget, you are in Digital Minds and Daydreams. Alicia, I was going to say I'm Cecilie, and she's Alicia.
I'm not Alicia, I'm Cecilie. So see you in our next episode.
We'll see you in the next episode. And don't forget to check us out. We have to still do a lot of things on our webpage, but you can start looking at what we've got. digitalmindsdarkdreams.com. And keep dreaming, keep thinking, keep putting things down, write your dreams, write your list, your values will help you out. Yes, but with passion, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.